Hi, welcome to Recruiter Fuel. My name is David Budashevsky. I'm the videographer here at Qualities International. And I'm here again with Jenna to talk about something that sort of came up a lot when I was looking at trends for 2025 as far as like recruiting goes. And it's this idea of proactive recruitment. The biggest thing in this is just making sure that you have a proper pipeline in place to hire somebody in the event that you do need to immediately hire somebody. So I kind of want to get your ideas on what that would kind of look like and how to sort of set that up for someone if they wanted to be more proactive with their recruiting pipeline starting out the new year.
Good question. I think a lot of it has to do with obviously like building relationships is a huge part of recruiting. When you're having conversations with individuals, it's important that you keep it open to more potential, more possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of passive candidates come through when you are sourcing and when you are interviewing. But always be open for networking, I would say. Like, it depends on the level that you're sourcing too, like more so, I don't know, it just depends on the industry too. You'll find that some folks are more interested in just networking rather than open to potential possibilities. So passive is super common. So keeping those folks warm is a term we like to use also. Letting them know that if you come across a position that kind of better suits their needs in the future, we can always tap you on the shoulder and kind of move through the process that way as well.
How does it kind of look, keeping somebody warm, even though there might not be an immediate need for them? How do you sort of juggle that balance of not, you don't want to string someone along. You don't want to like play with somebody's life,
Yeah.
like
100%. Yeah, it's transparency for sure. If there are other individuals in the process, I think it's important to say something along the lines like, we are speaking to other individuals that are farther along in the process. I don't know. I don't necessarily like to make promises to anyone because you never know what's going to happen. You could have someone at the offer and something wild happens and it falls through, and then you need someone to quickly pick back up. So it's important to keep quality individuals warm, not just any.
Yeah.
It's important to keep it, again, trim the fat. Don't just keep anyone warm. But I think transparency is big in that regard. You don't want to say, hey, there's two people that are about to get potential offers, but you do want to say, like, definitely don't put all your eggs in one basket. I don't want to stop you from interviewing for other positions. If it comes to that point, if it does feel like the process is taking longer than it should, but definitely transparency.
So you mentioned networking on the initial part there. What does it sort of look like in the recruiting space when you're networking with somebody that you might not be exactly hiring them, but they might have a pull somewhere to get somebody you're looking for?
So when you're reaching out to individuals, again, like more so passive candidates who are into more so networking, a lot of the times they want to tell you what they're looking for, rather than you pitching said job, not necessarily pitching, but selling them on it, or you don't want to.
It's a weird because there's like
not selling either, because you don't want to just put butts in seats. It's you want to learn more about them. So you're wanting to learn whether the background fits the position, the client, the culture, all of the things, and also would that fit well in their lives as well, even if it's not necessarily for that specific role for them. So keynote taking is very important. But in a networking situation, you could always take whatever, is said within the conversation. You learn their salary goals. You learn their pain points, their what's important to them, etc. And you leave it open for discussion in the future.
Yeah.
It's
something you said in there sort of struck a chord of the idea of personas. right? Because we use a lot of personas when we're going after candidates. We get an idea of what the ideal person is that you're looking for. And I think when you're talking about being proactive, having that persona for like each individual role that you could possibly be hiring for in your company could pay dividends in the end, because then you know exactly like what sort of person you're looking for right out the rip. So I think building those personas right out could be important.
Very important. That kind of makes me think about like the initial intake call with the client to understand their ideal profile. Because if you don't have a good understanding of that, you're not going to have a good understanding of the right person when you come across them, potentially. So it's important to know that your client's needs and also understand the candidate's needs as well. Because again, there is morality to this. We don't want to put any old butt in a seat. We want it to be a fit for both parties. You are messing with people's lives. So this is, I mean, it shouldn't be taken lightly.
Yeah. We've been having a discussion about emotional hiring in the marketing department here, and I think there's like a hierarchy of like things that are like more stressful in your life, whatever. And if I remember correctly, like starting a new job is like top 5, possibly top 3 amongst like, moving and like getting married. So
Yeah.
like it affects you and it ripples throughout your life. So yeah, it's very important to, when you're getting those personas and you're making those databases, that you're taking into account the person behind all of that. It's not just a number in a database. There's an actual human being there.
And a lot of candidates like are in totally different situations. There could be an individual that's in between a job. There's a gap for some reason, or someone that, again, passive, not necessarily looking, and there could be someone who's actively looking. And many things can happen in between. So you obviously, like, you have to be cognizant of that as well.
Yeah. What is a good way to sort of keep, so you have this pipeline going. What's a good way to keep all this sort of organized? Where's a good space to sort of, keep that, keep those candidates warm, keep those personas ready to go? Like where's a kind of good place to sort of keep all that?
So I lean on Loxo a lot because there are different buckets that you can kind of drop individuals in, but there's also like spots for notes. I when I'm taking notes, I always put like in all caps, passive, right on the front, so or like could potentially want blank, like comp goals, anything that you can think of that would, set off sparks for this individual potentially in this future. Their needs right up front. You don't necessarily have to go searching for it. And also checking in with folks like that, like the passive candidates. How are things going? Have you changed your mind? Referrals are big too. You can get that way, because if you're having a conversation with someone for networking purposes, or they're not necessarily sure what they want, they're in the middle somewhere. People are nice. Not everyone is, hoarding opportunities. A lot of times you can get pretty decent referrals. Someone who could potentially fill that perfect spot.
I think it's important to note that, I'm sure a lot of these services aren't just free to use.
Correct.
But, the idea of keeping that, fresh and ready to go without having to like, scramble when you're somebody leaves or something happens and you have to make that hire. I think if you look at the cost per both sides of that, having something sort of going on in the background may not be the worst thing possible.
And I'm not opposed to an Excel doc. I love a simplistic Excel doc, don't get me wrong. I think it's I don't know, your note-taking style, so you know how to potentially organize things in a way that is going to pop for you. Coding, not coding in like a techie way, but like color coding or caps, whatever floats your boat.
Yeah. Whatever you can do to stay organized and stay on top of stuff.
Yes. Hard copy, maybe a little bit difficult with that, but I don't know. I love an Excel doc, let me tell you.
This might be a little bit different for you because we're kind of a, you know, have gun, will travel type situation where we go to where the need is, companies who need us to bring on somebody. But is there anything that you kind of do to be proactive in your situation so that, you know, when you're brought in to say like, all right, we're taking on this client, here's what they need, and you go, I already have 50 people I can call right now because I've been on top of that.
So when I use Hirees, I label each like job or endeavor that I'm working on by title or specifically something that jumps out within the profile, so that I am able to search for like my past, you know, log of candidates. And then job descriptions are huge to keep on file because things can change and be tweaked throughout. Even if it's a similar target, it may not necessarily apply in all cases. So you have to be conscious of that as well. Not everyone fits the same bracket.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because like, you know, you could have two A+ candidates, but you know, they're on opposite sides of like where they fit into the company culture. And you gotta be, you know, aware of that.
You could have 50 people sourced previously, but if they don't have whatever certification, it could be potential garbage.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term.
Any final thoughts on this going into the new year and trying to get proactive recruiting down pat for people?
Ooh, stay organized, people. Keep on your A game. I guess like whatever keeps you accountable, find whatever it is that keeps you accountable and run with it. Whether it be an Excel doc, whether it be an alarm on your phone or, you know, something simple like that.
Accountability pays dividends.
Amen.
Jenna, thank you for being on. This is a wonderful conversation.
Thank you.
I'll see you guys later.
See ya.